talk about a little bit about what we learned this past weekend. I want to start with the Chicago Bears. Um, it, it's not looking good. They're coming off of a defeat to the New England Patriots at home, where they only mustered 3 points that whole entire game. A lot of blame is to be made on either sides of the ball, defense, offense, but mainly the quarterback and the coaching staff there in Chicago. Now, Drake May outperformed Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb Williams is 0-2 this year against other rookie quarterbacks. He lost earlier this year on a Hail Mary, granted, to Jaden Daniels, and then he got outperformed this past Sunday by Drake May and the New England Patriots. Caleb Williams continues to struggle, especially after a bye week. That's pretty remarkable. This offense has not scored, I think, a touchdown since their game against the Washington Commanders, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. As they continue to play, there's no connection. There's no chemistry between the star-studded players that they have, between DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, even Keenan Allen, right? And don't even get me started on Rome Odunze, the rookie, right? So they have the pieces, but offensively, they're just struggling. I think the play calling is pretty weak. And I think, Matt Eberflus is definitely on the hot seat for sure. And then when you look at the quarterback play, anytime I watch Caleb Williams and I'm actually comparing him to other rookie quarterbacks, to me, he doesn't pass the eye test. And I get it. He's still a rookie. But when you watch Drake May, you watch Jaden Daniels, there are plays that are made from those players in the game where you're like, you know what? They actually look like they can play in the National Football League. Caleb Williams, to me, still looks like he's playing in college at USC or Oklahoma, where he's just kind of running around, ad-libbing stuff as he goes, and that's not going to be able to get it done. And the Bears continue to struggle. Their playoff chances are definitely dwindling as we speak. Any other loss, I feel like they're done. I mean, they're already in the most competitive division in all of National Football League. And you lose a game to the Patriots, a team that no one really respects that much. But they do play with heart. They do play with some grit. But Drake May definitely is a better quarterback as a rookie right now. And Caleb Williams. Now, I get it. He's had some glimpses. He had some moments here. But I'm definitely the Chicago Bears, to me, and their fan base is waking up this morning, and they're like, well, like, what are we doing? Like, why didn't we just keep Justin Fields in if we're going to continue to lose, especially the way Justin Fields was playing down the stretch last year? You ended up letting him go. You draft Caleb Williams. You figure he's going to be a plug-and-play type of quarterback, and it's just not working out. And I don't think a lot of it, too, is not all on him. I think it's coaching as well. And I definitely believe Matt Eberflus will probably be the next coach fired if they continue to lose. But as far as what we learned about the Bears, I just think that they're not ready yet. They're still an inept team. They still have a lot of development and growing to do, and it begins with the quarterback play as well. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and maybe they are legit. Listen, really good win against the Washington Commanders on the road. Russell Wilson continues to perform and produce a little bit there. A little up and down this past game, but there were some major key plays made down the stretch that helped attribute them to winning that football game in a tough environment against a Commanders team that was ready and willing to win that game at home in front of their faithful fans there. Now, I will say this, though. Russell Wilson moving forward is going to be the quarterback. I don't think there's a debate in that now. I believe he's 3-0 still as a starter with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's still connecting with guys like George Pickens. They added Mike Williams in the draft, in the trade arena there, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But honestly, this offense is a lot better. I think it's more consistent, even though there are some ups and downs, just like any other offense in the National Football League for the most part. You're going to find your grooves. You're going to find your rhythm, and they tend to do that. And I think Russell Wilson is definitely brought some new life to this offense as well. I mean, he's Mr. Unlimited, right? So, he's still undefeated as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I know Steeler fans are going crazy. But I will say this, though. You got to give a lot of credit to Mike Tomlin as well. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for being a really, really outstanding coach in the National Football League. What he's been able to go through the last couple of years, especially those years where they were kind of wandering in the desert after, Big Ben retired, and he still was able to win games, be in contention for the playoffs, and even in contention for the AFC North. And now you feel like he's got a quarterback. Now, granted, Russell Wilson is he's an elder statesman here now, but still he has a veteran quarterback with a proven pedigree who has a lot to prove, because honestly, the last time we really considered Russell Wilson a top 10 quarterback was probably a couple years ago when he was still in Seattle, right? We saw what happened to him in Denver. Didn't work out there. He's come to Pittsburgh now. It looks like he's taking control of that offense. Granted, Justin Fields did what he needed to do. But overall, I think too, the moves that they made at the trade deadline. Adding a guy like Mike Williams, who came up with a clutch catch towards the end, late in that game to help seal that victory for them. And then the guy that they traded from the Green Bay Packers, Preston Smith, who had a key sack, I believe, in that game late on Jaden Daniels to help preserve the win as well. So making acquisitions is something that they've been able to do successfully this year. And I don't think that's a plus for them, honestly. And the moves that they made with Mike Williams and Preston Smith, they're very minor. But in the grand scheme of things, these guys help what they do, what they're doing there with their whole philosophy. You don't always have to go out and get a big time name like how the Jets got Devontae Adams, and look what's happening to them. They got smacked by the Arizona Cardinals still, right? So it doesn't matter. You get guys that fit what you're doing for your team. So with that said, Pittsburgh Steelers are definitely legit. I think this win on the road against a hostile team in the Commanders in a hostile environment definitely solidifies my opinion on them. Are they one of the better teams in the AFC? Well, you know what? We're going to continue. We're going to see a little bit more from them, because they still have matchups against guys in their teams in their division, and they still got to go up against the Ravens as well, too. So we will see in the future. But right now, I believe they are legit. All right, finally, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. This is one of my favorite teams to watch in the National Football League. I've been on record saying that even way back in August, September, when I was doing my previews and predictions for the divisions, I didn't think they would be as good as they are right now. Now, granted, I don't think they're like the best team in the NFC, but they're one of the best teams in the NFC West. I don't know. Last week I had a real or not take saying that they weren't quite ready to win the NFC West, or it was like it was a far reality that they can't. This team actually can. The way their defense is playing, it's much improved. Kyler Murray is playing out of this world at an MVP candidate level. Granted, I know Lamar Jackson's running away with this thing right now, but guys like Kyler Murray, man, he's making plays down the field. The rapport he's establishing with Marvin Harrison Jr., but again, the defense, man, the defense is playing lights out. And what they did to the Jets this past weekend was just basically a shellacking. I love that word, shellacking, but they handled the Jets. They throttled them, right? Listen, and offensively against the Jets, they were able to do whatever they wanted to do. Kyler Murray put up over 126 yards, 1 touchdown in the air and 2 on the ground. And just he's playing phenomenal football. And I'm looking at my notes here. Listen, on their first 5 drives, they could not be stopped. They ended up getting 28 first downs and 406 yards in total yardage within that game. And against a defense which we thought was legitimate. Apparently, the Jets defense is not good anymore. I don't know what happened to them, but they were once a vaunted defense. Now they're a mere shell of themselves. But definitely, the NFC West is a very, very peculiar situation. Right? You got the Niners, big win against the Buccaneers. Then you still have the Rams that are still in contention. You got the Cardinals still right there. This thing can go either way. Seattle, maybe on the outside looking in, but they do play each other tough within this particular division. So I can see Seattle maybe splitting with somebody here. But this was once a division not that long ago where you're like, the NFC West, it's going to be the Niners to win. Not so fast. The Cardinals are here to stay, and they're saying, you know what, we have what it takes to win this division, and maybe make some noise in the playoffs because Kyler Murray is a nightmare matchup for defenses because of his ability to make plays off script. You don't know where he's going, and he's a threat running the ball. He's a mini Lamar Jackson, right? Probably a lot more accurate than Lamar, but but still, he's a guy that you have to keep account for when you're on a defense. And then James Conner is playing really well too. Their red zone offense is really good, but their defense, again, I think is what's most important about this unit is that within the last 2 weeks, they've been holding teams pretty efficiently, I would say. And as long as the Jets are concerned, it's pretty much a wrap for them. I don't see them doing much here, but this is more so about what the Arizona Cardinals did versus what the Jets couldn't do against them, because you really got to see the microcosm of one organization that's been, up and down a little bit, but they don't make these decisions that the Jets are making. And the Cardinals are going to be pretty much an adult type of organization. And that's what I really like about them, honestly. But they're definitely exciting to watch. Where you look at the Jets, it's a car accident on the side of the road that you have to kind of look, because what's happening here? They're just falling apart at the seams everywhere, from the quarterback to the defense, everywhere you go. But when you look at the Cardinals, they only have room to improve. So I'm telling you right now, I'm going to put everyone on notice. You better look out for the Cardinals because they can beat a couple teams and maybe sneak up on a couple teams and make a deep run in the playoffs.